Well, look, I'm sure you remember the interview I conducted only 12 days ago with Senator Malcolm Roberts, the Queensland One Nation Senator. The response has been astonishing, and I indicated to you at the time I would bring him back. This was on this immensely disturbing issue of energy policy and the damage that is being done to our economy and our future by basing energy policy on ideology, not reality. In that interview with Malcolm Roberts, I made the point that on the very day when I spoke to him, the Australian energy market operator was expressing concern about the premature closing of coal-fired power plants, delays in transmission projects, further delays in Snowy 2.0, and the lack of storage in the system, all of which add up to crisis with a capital C. Thermal coal prices have more than doubled since the start of this year. Thermal coal produces electricity. The world wants it, but fools like Chris Bowen have legislated to virtually prevent us from using it for our own benefit. Gas seems to be the new buzzword, such that liquid natural gas prices have skyrocketed 4 times higher than a year ago. But LNG is a fossil fuel. Aren't they hypocrites? The stupidity is everywhere. I raised these issues privately with a senior Labor figure in the last couple of days. And I explained what I've explained to you. This 82% renewables by 2030 is rubbish. And we're facing a massive economic and energy crisis if we go down this path. This person, high up in the Labor Party, said to me, "Don't worry, Alan, Albo gets it." To which I said, "What do you mean by that?" And the answer was, "He knows the importance of coal." And I said, "Really?" I said, "I'll believe that when he approves a high-efficiency, low-emission, coal-fired power station, or several of them." Well, Malcolm Roberts, with scholarship coming out of his ears, and like Mark Latham does his homework, told us last time that 10 senators and members in the last parliament had stated or shown in writing that they have never received logical scientific evidence proving that carbon dioxide from human activity causes climate change and therefore needs to be cut. And many Labor, Liberal and National Party members have privately confided to Senator Roberts that there is no scientific basis for their party's climate and energy policies, but they remain silent. And I mentioned that the West Australian MP, Dennis Jensen, was a former CSIRO research scientist. In fact, at the time, he was the only scientist in the federal parliament. He repeatedly argued his disgust with CSIRO's betrayal of climate science and the CSIRO evolving into an unscientific, politicised climate advocacy group. Dr. Dennis Jensen, Liberal, was in the parliament for 12 years, never ever got a Guernsey, and eventually lost pre-selection because of his views, I would say differently, because of his scholarship. You wanted Malcolm Roberts back to hear some common sense, you've got him. He's joined me again. Malcolm Roberts, thank you for your time. Just repeating, because this needs to be said again, there are people in the National Parliament meant to represent us who argue that they've seen no proof that carbon dioxide from human activity causes climate change, but they remain silent.
Correct. Pressure to conform with party power brokers and party policy, Alan. That's all it is.
Well, tell us about Stegall. She came up to your office Zali Stegall in 2021 to try to persuade you to vote for her proposed climate change legislation. She couldn't provide any logical, scientific points showing the need for the bill. Is that right?
She was absolutely stunned, completely silent, speechless, Alan, had nothing to say.
And then you asked Morrison's then Senate leader, Matthias Cormann, for the logical scientific points to support climate and energy policies, and he couldn't answer your questions.
No, in fact, what he said in his answer was that we have an obligation to fulfil our international commitments. And yet, you know, this is the basis for policy which is costing Australian billions of dollars and will cost trillions of dollars in the economy eventually.